Jehovah's Witnesses have helped millions of people to learn the truth through a variety of methods, including, of course, this channel, JW Broadcasting. Today, we use videos in our preaching, meetings, schools, and conventions. But did you know that Jehovah's organization first used motion pictures more than 100 years ago? This episode of our History in Motion traces that rich history. Let's watch.
Today, we use videos just about everywhere in our worship and ministry. But did you know that Jehovah's people started using film and video to preach and teach more than 100 years ago? Let's see how and why in this episode of Our History in Motion.
What we're about to see is a weird quirk from this cult. They believe that they are a restorationist religion, as they go on to say in this broadcast later, which means that they believe they merely found the right religion and picked it up. That means that they have to believe that they have always been doing pretty much the same things that first century Christians did. This is obviously incorrect, not only because of the way the first century Christians were divided among different understandings of what it meant to be Christians and how they acted independently, which has nothing to do with the governing body called this religion has morphed into, but because even the Jehovah's Witnesses do not have consistent views themselves. This religion has gone through multiple iterations, with the Bible students of Charles C. Russell believing very little things that modern Jehovah's Witnesses still believe today. That's why Jehovah's Witnesses have to be constantly gaslit into thinking their current version of the religion isn't just almost a perfect copy of the first century Christians, it's also the only version of the religion that has ever existed. And that's what this video is about. Despite most of this cult's time on earth being spent printing and selling books, this video is about to gaslight Jehovah's Witnesses into believing this religion has really always used videos like they do today. It's just, maybe you weren't noticing.
When the early Bible students first began preaching in the late 1800s, the motion picture industry was in its infancy. But even then, C.T. Russell and his associates recognized the power of this new medium. Film could be used not only to reach wider audiences, but to touch hearts with Bible truth. At a convention in June 1913, the Bible students passed a bold resolution, supporting the use of motion pictures as a new tool for preaching and teaching. Less than a year later, in January 1914, the brothers debuted the photo drama of creation. The 8-hour production included color slides and motion picture film, most of it footage that Russell purchased from other studios.
They try to tell you that they've been using these videos pretty much all along, except they're lying, because if it was the same religion, how come we have never seen this religion post the photodrama of creation in jw.org? We know they have a restored version of it. They show clips of it literally in this video. So why not make it public? It's almost like they know the photodrama of creation was made for a version of the religion so fundamentally different. You can't even say modern Jehovah's Witnesses are the same in name only, because even the name has been changed by now.
But what if film could be used to teach the truth not just in big theaters, but right in a person's own living room? That was the idea behind a series of short films released in the 1920s. These silent films, chronicling the travels of J.F. Rutherford in the Bible lands, were designed to be shown at home. They required the use of the Kinemo projection machine, a portable, low-cost movie projector made just for this purpose. Interested ones who viewed these films were given a glimpse of the Bible lands and were introduced to many prophecies.
How can they lie this much? The videos they're referring to were called Showing a Few Neighbors the Symbolism of the Great Pyramid of Egypt. And they were solely about Russell's pyramidology teachings, which were completely discarded by this group less than 2 decades later. You can see it right here on the screen if you pause it at the right moment. This is how Jehovah's Witnesses completely rewrite history. Oh, this video is that Russell shot explaining how the measurements of the Pyramid of Giza predict the end of the world? Those are just Russell videos traveling around Bible lands, and who doesn't like a good travel video? Again, these videos will never be released in jw.org because then they could not lie blatantly like they are lying right now.
But in the 1950s, the governing body recognized the need for interested ones to see for themselves the international scope of the organization. So they again turned to film with the release of The New World Society in Action. This 1 hour and 20-minute film transported viewers to our Bethel facilities and international conventions. It gave them a taste of what it's like to preach in some of the remotest parts of the world.
See, they're doing it again. They say the governing body, but that structure did not exist back then. Instead, you had a president, and you can see the president of the time, Nathan Knorr, right here in the photo that they chose of him surrounded by people to pretend they all share power. But there's only one desk, and there's only one fancy chair here, isn't there? It's insane to me just how much they change history of this religion to make it look more like the current version of the cult. What will happen in 20 years? Will they say that men didn't wear beards because of their own conscience and try to show old photos of JW women in pants, trying to say, oh no, women have always worn pants here?
But as the 1990s approached, new technologies emerged that prompted our brothers to revisit motion pictures yet again. Video cassette players could be found in more and more homes. And so, in 1990, we released our very first video, Jehovah's Witnesses, the organization behind the name. It took viewers behind the scenes and built appreciation for how our literature is produced and used in the global preaching work.
We have reacted to that in the channel. It is a very clear snapshot of a completely different version of the religion. The video barely features the governing body and doesn't even mention the governing body at all. It's all about the publications. This clip has already mentioned and shown the governing body more than that old video from the 90s, because their religion during the 90s was a completely different religion than the cult it is today. They were still a cult, but they believe in completely different things.
Motion picture technology has changed dramatically in 100 years. But the objective of Jehovah's organization in using it has always been the same: to touch the hearts of people everywhere with Bible truth.
They're literally saying the quiet part out loud with this one. Before, the objective of Jehovah's Witnesses was to educate everyone on what the Bible really says. Now, it's all about showing a dramatic video and hoping it fools the person into feeling something and relate that feeling to this cult. And as we've seen, this approach has only gotten them diminishing returns. But that's all for now. You can watch the full analysis by becoming a supporter like these guys right here, or by subscribing so you don't miss the next video when it comes out.